Hey all, I'm pleased to bring you two guests today on the topic of excellence, the blend of agile and lean to create great outcomes. We have Ms. Catherine Chabiron, who's written a new book, Learning to Scale, on the organisation of Theodo Group, which is one of the leaders is Fabrice Bernhard, who's also joined us. This is a topic which is quite interesting, the blending of agile and lean to create great outcomes and to scale and deliver great results for customers. Again, there's a lot of resources on the Enterprise Excellence Podcast website you can go and get hold of, particularly one on leading an agile transformation. And I hope you gain value from it. Let's get to the show.
Welcome to the Enterprise Excellence Podcast, where we aim to help create a better future. Learn from our world's experts how to improve and create enduring, high-performance, low-impact enterprises. Learn how to enhance morale, customer and purpose centricity, focus and calmness. Learn how to create and sustain a culture of excellence at all levels of your organisation.
And I'm your host, Brad Jevons, coming to you from Brisbane, Australia. We are proudly brought to you in association with SA Partners, a world-leading business transformation consultancy. SA Partners are a truly purposeful company focused on helping organisations achieve sustainable improvement for themselves, others, and the planet.
Welcome to episode 168 of the Enterprise Excellence Podcast.
It is such a pleasure to have Catherine Chabiron and Fabrice Bernhard on the show with us today. Catherine is a board member of the French Lean Institute. Catherine is a former director of IS governance at Faurecia, a major French industrial group. Catherine is passionate about helping organisations overcome barriers to establishing hands-on, customer-centric, value-driven prioritisation and employee engagement. We're here today to discuss the new book, Learning to Scale at Theodo Group, written by Catherine and Fabrice. Let's get into the episode. Catherine and Fabrice, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Yeah, really appreciate it. So, Catherine and Fabrice, what got you involved at this place now where we're working together on this book, Learning to Scale?
So, just a bit of background. I've met Fabrice in a Lean tour study group in Japan. So I had heard that the Theodo Group was trying to do Lean and use Lean. And this is a very new environment for the Lean people because it's pure tech, a pure digital world. I'm from the automotive business. This is where I learned Lean. I moved out of the automotive business, and I also saw Lean in industry, services, and so on. But this was the first time I was hearing somebody trying it in digital and tech. The Theodo Group, Fabrice will explain. They are managing apps for the web, for mobile phones, and so on. Fabrice will go into more detail. It was founded a few years back, and it's one of those startups that didn't die. They survived over the first 5 years, which are usually the biggest risk, and they have a very big growth. So I was very interested to hear how they were using Lean, because obviously they were also using Agile, but they had also adopted Lean. So I knocked on their door and I said, can I come and write a book about what you're doing, using your own business challenges, like, how to catch customers, how to retain talent, and how to keep a technological edge, because this is a fast-moving world. And how do you do that with Lean? So that was the idea. And Fabrice didn't actually write co-wrote the book, but it's other authors. But Fabrice is one of the co-founders of the group, together with Benoit. And they said, yes, come and visit. And that was the
nice.
start.
Oh, that's awesome. And Fabrice, with you in Agile and Lean, what got you to really go down that Lean path and think, okay, how do I take what I know in Agile and apply more Lean thinking to it?
It really started with the discovery of Agile. Because, when we started, when we became entrepreneurs, because we didn't want to work at the corporate companies that were trying to hire us. And really quickly realized that, you launch your business, it's fun, but as soon as you have quality issues, you end up wondering, okay, how do I address them? And then you start thinking, okay, I should add process and I should add management, supervision. And so you end up realizing that you're barely a few years into it and you've already recreated the bureaucracy. And so that was a bit the point at which we were lucky to meet pioneers of the Agile movement in France and make this move of saying, okay, let's try Agile, by the book, Scrum, extreme programming, and do it in a very disciplined way. And that was a game changer for the way we work with clients. So we were able to scale much faster, and we had like much higher client satisfaction, much higher people engagement, better quality products. I mean, it was really magical. And as soon as we started scaling, we realized, okay, Agile was amazing at like unlocking this, but it's not bringing us all the answers. So, where could we look for the equivalent of Scrum, but for the whole company, not just for the team of software engineers? And there's a combination of, meeting people in this Agile community who had been through the same story. And one of them told us, I had tried to make my big telco Agile and realized that was impossible. And then I found answers. I mean, not magical, but I found answers in Lean. And also the combination of seeing that whenever you dig into the origins of Agile, you start touching Lean too. So there was this double interest in saying, okay, it seems to be at the origins, and it seems to be there's people telling us it's the solution to our scaling challenges. So that's how we started. And actually, the person I had met who had discovered Lean and tried to implement it in a large telco had become a Lean consultant by then, Antoine Contal, and so he was our first Lean coach, helping us in our journey.
Oh, great, Fabrice. So it's that combination of looking at Agile, seeing its origins, using it to scale, and then really getting into the Lean side to give you that extra elements that come from that. It's brilliant. And Catherine, with the book, Learning to Scale, like you've written it about this journey of Theodore and the challenges they face. What are the key elements that you took away studying the Theodore organization and writing it into the book?
Well, maybe let me give you an illustration how they do it in the Gemba, as we said. This is a Japanese word for where things are happening and where the value is created. I was, as part of the visits I made for the book, I was attending a product review with the other co-founder, Fabrice Bernhard. And Benoit is the big boss. It's a company with 700 people. So when you have the big boss coming, you're a little frightened. So you prepare everything. You have all your deliverables and your macro planning and so on. And you just want to start explaining that. But Benoit stopped them and said, let's look at the product first. So if you have the Toyota production system in mind, what he was doing is you have the roof, which is the customer satisfaction. Number one, he was looking back at the customer and the product, because we all tend to stick to the process and the deliverable. So show me the product, tell me what the customer wants. Second question, if we look at the pillars of the Toyota production system, he was looking at the lead time. Are we late, not late? Is the customer satisfied with how fast we support him and we deliver the solution? And then immediately after that, do we have any problem, quality issues, or can we support you? And this is the other pillar, the pillar about quality. So he went right into problem solving. But that was not finished. His last question was, how can we help you? Because he was thinking of the foundations. How do we engage people? By building trust, by giving them tools that work, by giving them enablers. So this is just to show you how they are using the TPS framework on an everyday basis to actually understand what's the next step and how to give sense to people when they are working.
Yeah, nice.
That's interesting.
Yeah, so you saw the full framework in place, that customer centricity, the focus on the product and what it's doing for the customers, the pillar of lead time, and then the pillar of also that process and quality aspect in delving into the root cause if there's a problem.
And the support to the people, because you cannot have people engaged with customer satisfaction, if you don't give them tools that work and solutions that are easy to use.
Yeah.
So
I guess
it's a whole system, you know.
Yeah, and that autonomy and empowerment that I guess is such a focus of lean and agile. So it's cool. And Catherine, when you yourself and Fabrice and you're looking at this journey of Theodo and you're writing this book about it on learning to scale, what were the key components that you felt were critical that you wrote about through the book to actually describe their journey and what they were doing, combining agile with lean?
I don't know how to answer this question, but maybe this is a possible answer. I was actually interested in the challenges because there's no point describing lean as a toolbox if that toolbox is not helpful every day. So what we did in the discussions with Fabrice and Bernhard, the co-founders, preparing those visits was, let's tackle all your business challenges and see how lean is helping you. On the lead time, quite obviously, the Kanban solutions were offering really good conversations about why we're stuck, what is this customer needing. We had a lot of discussions also about how to prepare an offer to a customer. Initially, they explained to me that they were rather pushing technical solutions like, oh, we've done it before with this and that customer. Because usually customers ask for solutions. They don't tell them problems. They just say, I want to buy this solution. So the next step was to try and really focus on what the problem was that they were trying to solve. I saw their questionnaires. They have questionnaires on a weekly basis that they are raising with. It's not a questionnaire that they send to the customer and say, oh, please answer and give me a note or a mark. No, it's a discussion that they have every week to see where the customer is stuck, happy, not happy, and so on, so that they can do problem solving behind. We saw how they were actually recruiting and training people and developing people with book clubs and communities of practice and so on. That was really impressive because for every business challenge I could think of, they were finding solutions with lean. Yeah. This is what the book tells actually with 5 chapters on the different challenges and how they use lean to address them.
Yeah, that's neat. That's neat. So you had this, you saw them doing like a customer engagement type position to learn from the customer every week. And then you also saw them using Kanban to really drive conversations around the meeting. Yeah. Exactly.
And I also saw them andon, the word andon, when you're pulling the cord to call for help. This has become a word in itself. Have you andoned me, or I andoned you yesterday? Did you see what I said? The problem I had, and so on. So it's really happening. I could witness it.
Yeah. Oh, that's neat. And Fabrice, with yourself, I can see with this journey that, like, is your company running like a weekly sprint rhythm where you've got like a weekly rhythm of execution and review with customers in play? Like, I can see you've taken that and then built in some of the lean components with the andon too to call for help and get support and things like that.
Yeah, but it's very interesting because when you think of it, Scrum, which is really like a very comprehensive framework to implement agile on projects, is very compatible with lean. The pillars of Scrum, inspection, and I forgot the others.
Transparency, inspection, adaptation. Yeah, transparency, inspection, adaptation. Yeah,
exactly. That's the 3, and we've been lucky quite to implement like a lot of lean thinking into the way we do Scrum, and I would even say that the Scrum community was very close to that at the beginning, and it kind of diverged. I'll give you an example. It was really clear at the beginning of Scrum, when you look at the very old documents, that you were supposed to do, in software, you're supposed to cut your software pieces by increments of less than a day, so that you could update your burnout chart every morning and see if there's an issue. And we started in that world. So we had this visual management of the burnout chart, and on a daily basis, if we were late, we would do problem solving. very lean problem solving, no judgment, no blame, just, oh, we're late, this is an opportunity to learn. And it's interesting because the Agile community kind of then, when you look at how it evolved, there's no more burnout charts, there's no more one-day increments, there's no more of that, daily discipline of transparency and inspection. And I think, so that's an interesting insight in the fact that if you take the original Scrum, it's incredibly compatible with lean thinking.
Oh, it is. It is. I think we've had Jeff Sutherland on the show before too, twice, Fabrice, so one of the founders of Scrum. And he talks that his foundation is Taichi Ono and Shigeru Shingo and all that study. Like he himself says the foundation's lean, and the OODA loop from a guy called John Boyd. But he ultimately says lean, which is amazing that they've got a lot of humility in that regard.
John Boyd, who himself then saw a lot of parallels between just-in-time and the OODA loop. So I think there's different ways of looking at that similar, very strong ideas.
Yeah. And Catherine, I guess for yourself, like that really strong lean background you've got, being able to come into the agile space of Theodo and see how they're doing that, plus also how lean's sort of blending through this whole organization and going forward is quite amazing.
Yeah, it is, because it's not either agile or lean. It's using the best. It's not using the best of it. It's using both in different frameworks. Agile Scrum is, Fabrice, you will correct me if I'm wrong, but is used more for the project development. As I said, they are building apps, so every new app is a project. So they are very much into all the agile artifacts and concepts when they are building products. And they step back and they use more the overall lean network, lean framework that we've understood from watching Toyota, observing Toyota, for the overall company running.
Yeah, nice.
In the end, the common thing is that they spend a lot of time on the Gemba.
Yeah.
Looking at people, observing where they're stuck, observing whether the customers are happy or not, observing whether the problem solving is ongoing or not. And this is really the major difference with any traditional way.
But it sounds like really that leaders who serve, leaders who are at the front line, really looking to understand where we create value and where's there impediments or challenges, and how do we help unlock that by building human capability at the front line. It's quite amazing, isn't it?
Exactly. Actually, Benoit, the other co-founder, said he cannot build a strategy. Co-founders are in charge of strategies for the company. There's no. It's not because you put autonomy in the teams that the strategy is not the boss's job. But he says by going very frequently to the Gemba, I can understand where we're stuck, where we are, what is the capability of the company. And from there, we can build how quickly, fast or not, we can change and we can improve. Just to give you an example, they can have, for example, they have recruited in one given technology on mobile apps, for example. And then suddenly the market turns and you need people in another technology. You have two solutions. Either you recruit in this new technology or you train your people from technology A to technology B. And this is the flexibility that Lean is telling us to promote. They are trying to find ways to quickly shift capability from one techno to the other, because that's what the market requires.
Yeah, that constant learning.
Yeah, exactly. It's constant learning. Who survives is the one who will learn faster.
Yeah, I could imagine. And Fabrice, it sounds like the organization, Theodore, has gone to that real leaders who serve type of approach, which is that autonomy in a team, strategically aligned, but you're really there to remove impediments and keep value flowing. Was there a journey for the leadership to shift to that, or was it naturally there? Like, did you have to go from command and control to that more leaders who serve about building the capability of the front line and really removing impediments?
It's interesting. I think it's a bit of both because since we're agile natives in a way, you could say that from very early on, we learned that giving the autonomy is doable and works. The reality is, yeah, I think it's a constant journey as a human being. As soon as things become stressful, I think there's like this very natural instinct of taking back control to man. So there's definitely like a personal journey for every leader in realizing that probably what are very instinctive reactions are not the right reactions. And so it's interesting because we've done it at different scale. We've done it at team scale when we implemented Scrum. And by the way, the instinctive reaction should not be discarded. What Scrum does really well is it gives you the right andons, the right, issue indicators so that you can give the team autonomy, but you know that you're going to be told really early on if there's an issue and early enough that you can like address it before it becomes like systemic risk for the whole organization. So you get that at team level, and then we recreated that actually bigger entity level because the way we grew as a company is actually becoming a group of multiple companies. So that is a way for us as leaders to give like a lot of autonomy to new leaders because they become shareholders, so they've got skin in the game, and they've got this space where they can innovate and try new things and address new markets. But then you've got some add-ons, at least profit is one of them, which which allows you and growth, which allows you to see if the leaders are succeeding or if they need help. And I think the other thing, by the way, on that journey, which is even when you've done that journey and learned to let go of unreasonable anxieties, put the right system in place so you can mitigate systemic risk, and then realize that autonomy usually generates more value. Well, then you need to teach that to more and more people because more and more people start having responsibilities, and more and more people need to go through the similar journey.
I could imagine, because there can be some natural tendencies for command and control or for those leadership behaviors that can destroy autonomy and empowerment at the front line. So it's really, really cool for that. I guess it comes back to, Catherine, what you mentioned, that creating that environment of constant learning. We're all constantly learning. We're all constantly developing.
Yeah, it's not so easy to actually refrain from command and control. As Fabrice said, every time there's a crisis, you tend to you can't let go. You tend to step over and say, okay, I'll take over from now. And sometimes you need to do so. But you must know that there was a book written by Katie Anderson that is called Learning to Lead and Leading to Learn. She tells this, maybe you know it, she tells the story of Isao Yoshino, who was a former Toyota leader. And he said that in Toyota, it's a permanent effort to come back, to let go, come back to the autonomy, the undone, the framework, and so on. Because from now and then, you tend to, it's natural, it's human, you tend to take over again. But when you do that, when you put all the decisions centrally, you make wrong decisions because they're not allowed to be taken in the right context and right background, and you create bureaucracy. So it's a permanent effort to fight back command and control.
Yeah. And
even in
I could imagine. Because I'm guessing too, seeing Catherine and Fabrice, I'm guessing that leadership behavior of whether you're in that great zone of developing people, create the autonomy at the front line, but the strategic focus and constant learning, and you got that going, you'll be on fire. But the wrong behaviors in times of stress or a new leader who might exude more command and control, I guess it can rapidly start to derail things a bit. But as long as you're aware of it and you can coach and develop that capability in leaders to get back to, okay, we got to help people grow. We got to really help remove impediments, keep value flowing, and running that system that you spoke about.
I guess, Fabrice, that's happened once. That does happen, and I suppose this is why it's so important for the two co-founders to be on the Gemba, to be there and observe what's happening.
And I think, as I mentioned, we shouldn't discard some of these instincts. I mean, there's a survival instinct in there, and part of that survival instinct is probably not adapted to leading a large organization, but part of that survival instinct is relevant. Sometimes if you some issues, if you let them become too big, they have way too much impact, and your role as the leader is to make sure this doesn't happen. So that's why I love the lean framework, because the lean framework is not just about giving autonomy, it's about creating a system that will do two key things. One, detect issues early and as early as possible. Two, really empower people to learn from these issues, so that when the issue becomes bigger, they're better trained at addressing it. Without these two things, if you give autonomy, but don't make people see the issues and don't make people learn from these issues, you're just going straight to explosion now.
herding cats. And I guess you mentioned, Catherine and Fabrice, you both mentioned strategic focus too. I guess if everyone's all focused on different stuff, completely unaligned to each other, you could have absolute chaos too without that strategic focus in play at the same time.
Yeah, and particularly the focus on product and customer. But also on the technologies, how quickly we grasp the disruptions in the market.
Yeah, as Catherine says, the one focus is really customer, because there's no world in which being not focused on the customer is good. And at the same time, you want to avoid, we're a certain size now, we're 700 people, 90 million revenue. You want to avoid restricting the organization from getting new opportunities. If there's a few million market here, you don't want the strategic focus, and prevent that from happening. So for me, I think really the key focus you want is understanding how to focus on customers. Is focusing on customers, and how as an organization you want to focus on customers, but then also leave some space for tapping into new markets and experimenting with things.
Yeah, nice. And on it, Catherine, through writing the book and being involved with Theodo, what would be your tip for anyone looking to combine lean and agile? And I'll come to yourself too, Fabrice, but what would be that 2-minute tip you'd say to someone, look, when you're considering agile and lean from what you saw and have written in the book, Learning to Scale?
Maybe reading the book will give you, this is a tip, but it gives you, we try to explain how the business can use the TPS as a framework. And honestly, for the mental load that running a company represents, it's really useful, because as I think it's Benoit was saying, that having the TPS framework as a tool every day helps you understanding what's the next step, and come back to the customer and the product. My number one tip would be to be back to observe the customer and the product as often as we can. Being on the Gemba and discuss customer product. This is number one, because the rest will derive from it. The customer issues, the problems we have to deliver, all this will come back.
That's great. Thank you, Catherine. That absolute focus on the customer at the front line and learning constantly from the customer from there. Nice, thank you.
Re-giving purpose and sense out of it.
Yeah. And the piece of leading at the front, being at the Gemba from leaders to learn. Great. And Fabrice, what about yourself? If you had someone for a 2-minute tip and you're going, hey, when it comes to agile and lean, here's the tip I'd give for you to consider moving forward.
2 minutes is short. But I think if you start somewhere, start with lean. And Scrum and extreme programming and DevOps. So that's already a lot. But DevOps for me is the most, it's what looks the most like an implementation of Lean in the IT world. So if you have a team that, does Scrum, adopts extreme programming practices, is very interested in DevOps and interested in Lean, you're going to have already like a good mix. But then what is also very interesting, like a tip would be, I think what the tech, super successful tech companies have done, like Amazon and Apple and these kind of people, because they've got a very, very strong Lean culture. When you look into, when you study them, they've got a lot of their principles are Lean principles. But one thing they do more than others, and that's also the case of Tesla, it's much more modular and modular designs and much more flexible designs in the design. And so typically Amazon is famous for having completely rewritten their big monolithic architecture. So Amazon.com was this like huge code base with a huge database, and of course they had reached a size at which any change was impacting so many other teams that everything was blocked. And they had the courage and they were the competence to at some point say, okay, we're going to restructure that into a service architecture with APIs, creating like a modular interface between these different services. And very interestingly enough, you look at that and you see how crucial it was in like Amazon's success. And then you see that again in Tesla. And I think that's one of the key things is Agile has brought this like, I think engineering design talent to say, okay, you sometimes some big problems, you can put enough intelligence to make them more modular. And once you've done that, of course, you have way more autonomy at scale. And one of the key sentences that is not known, so I'm like sharing it here, not known enough, from Jeff Bezos is communication is not a feature, it's a bug. That's very interesting from this like agile mindset that says, you know what, one way to collaborate better is to not communicate and create the IT systems that, make collaboration seamless. And that's, I think, is very new and very much from this like tech world and agile world. And very, very powerful in terms of scaling.
Yeah. Seen that too, Fabrice, and you read the stories on Spotify and so many. It's the modularity of the product that allows multiple teams to execute on their piece without disrupting the others. It's a really powerful outcome, isn't it, when it comes to scaling and becoming an agile organization. So, Catherine and Fabrice, I really appreciate both your time on the show talking about the new book, Learning to Scale, and Fabrice sharing knowledge from Theodo on how you've applied Agile and Lean. And I really appreciate it. Catherine, how can people get hold of the book and reach out to you if they want to?
Oh, they'll find it on the internet, and they can find me on LinkedIn. So it's not a sweat. Again, the title, Learning to Scale at Theodo Group.
I appreciate it. And Fabrice, for people that might have questions for you at Theodo Group or want to engage to talk about apps and the different technologies that you work on, how can they reach out to you or the group?
I'm just like Catherine, I'm on Twitter, I'm on X, so Fabrice B, but I'm also on LinkedIn, Fabrice Bernhard, and I respond to messages. So I'm very looking forward to answering any questions.
Great, Fabrice. Well, Catherine and Fabrice, thank you so much. Thanks for sharing your knowledge and time and helping us create a better future. Bye for now.
Thank you, Brad.
Cheers.
Thank you very much.
Catherine and Fabrice both spoke about getting small autonomous teams aligned to customers heavily and creating a learning loop where they can execute work and learn rapidly, which at Theodo was that weekly rhythm where they would execute work, release to customers, learn, use that data to then plan for the next execution of work and keep that learning loop going. Extremely fast rhythm. In Agile, it's called a sprint sequence, and the learning from customers is called a sprint review. It's amazing also the background of Lean that Catherine really knew from that studies of Toyota, which is all about that customer centricity, autonomy in the team, and really getting that rhythm of learning and improvement going. The second key takeaway for me was leading and learning at the front to help people grow and remove impediments. Leadership plays such a big part in understanding what's going on at the front line where we create value. but also helping them remove impediments that come up that they cannot handle themselves. There's another concept to this learning and leading from the front, which is alignment of two teams that may need alignment. Fabrice spoke a lot about having autonomous teams designed in a way that they can just execute work themselves and get the outcomes themselves. But in some cases, you might have 2 or 3 teams or even more that need to work together and be aligned together to get that result for a customer. There's the other part that leadership plays in that alignment, coordination of interdependent teams, and also the removal of impediments. The only place we can do that is at going to the front and understanding truly what's happening at the real place. As the saying goes with Gemba, that Catherine spoke about many times from that lean Toyota production system style background. Thanks again for your time and knowledge, Catherine and Fabrice. Really appreciate everything you're doing, helping us create a better future. Bye for now.